Hi. Okay, I'm a little mortified to be doing this on a video, but I would never say no to Dr. O'Farrell or Susan Wise. And also, it probably took me about 12 seconds to realize that this way is actually a little bit better for my social anxiety, so I got that going for me. Siege, I'm so sorry I'm not at your party, but doggone it, if anybody deserves a dang party, it's you. And if it's cool with y'all, I'm going to go ahead and read this. The mid-90s really was a golden era of Clovis High. I won't try to describe what faculty meetings looked like back then. All I can say is irreverent. But one fine day, along came the sweet, kind, pretty, perky, professional, and very proper pastor's daughter and pastor's wife. Of course, we loved her from the get-go, but I have often wondered how CJ managed to handle a bunch of ragtag, trucker mouth, know-it-all, entitled staff members with such grace and dignity and kindness and acceptance. In those days, school would let out at 2:40. Then there would be practice or games or whatever else going on, so after about 6 p.m. on any night of the week, you could make your way up to the admin office, and there would be CJ, Carol, Bobby, Diane working away, along with whatever administrators happened to be on campus as well. I'm pretty sure that our deep friendships formed during those late weeknights when we all kept working long after the actual workday. It didn't take long for CJ to become a trusted friend and confidant. Coincidentally, I was also blessed to have Chris in my English classes for 3 of his 4 years as a Cougar, so I got to know her as a parent as well. She was only supportive, never pushy or entitled. Chris was a great kid, so I knew he was being brought up with a strong sense of self and a sturdy moral code. But of course, the way things go around here, eventually Carlo left to go to Alta and took our CJ with him. I'm sure he thought we were all really sad to see him go, but actually we were just mad that he took Carol away. Sorry, Carlo. I think all of us who truly know CJ well can agree on the basic qualities that define her. She never judges those of us with sailor mouths. I am personally very grateful for this. She is quick to laugh, and her laugh is infectious. She is a fantastic travel partner. Easy, low maintenance, always ready for an adventure. She is not a cook. Sorry, Siege. Not a cook. But have you ever eaten her chicken pot pie or her creamed corn? If not, get it on your list. She is a beautiful mother and Grammy. She has a deep, abiding faith that guides her through every aspect of her life, as well as a strong moral compass. She knows who she is, she knows why she's here, and she knows where she's going. She has a generous heart and a generous spirit. She is a true north and a quiet, calm presence. She reminds us to be our better selves. If I had to pick just one thing about her that stands out most for me, it is that CJ shows up for her people. I want to share a story. June 2003 was a chaotic time at CHS. School had just let out for the summer. Dre's parents had just been in their tragic accident. My dad was in the hospital for the start of what would be several months, and I was leaving the classroom after 10 years to become the new activities director. There was much chaos, great sadness, and just a lot of movement and confusion. In the middle of all of this, I had to get to my classroom, get it cleaned out, and move out so that the next teacher could move in. So on a Saturday, I snuck away from the hospital and went to my classroom, feeling so overwhelmed. As most of you probably know, teachers are great collectors of crap, because you just never know when you're going to need that graphic organizer from the Odyssey from 1995. Anyway, at some point I sat on the floor in a heap of self-pity and started bawling. The ugly cry. Really ugly. My dad's in the hospital with a multitude of serious issues. My best friend's parents have just died. I can't possibly have to deal with moving right now. And right at that moment, when I'm feeling completely hopeless, my phone rings and it's CJ. I'm just calling to check on you. What are you doing? She asks. And I tell her, and about 10 minutes later, she shows up at my classroom, hugs me, and then starts throwing my crap away. Never says a word, just shows up. Stays with me all day and quietly helps me accomplish a task that I couldn't see how I could possibly complete. For those 2 weeks, while Dre's dad was in ICU, CJ traveled back and forth between the hospitals. Dre's dad was at VMC and my dad was at St. Agnes. And during those days, she came to the hospital frequently. Right after Dre's dad had passed, my dad was having triple bypass. So there we all were in the cardiac waiting room, my family, Dre, and CJ. While my dad had surgery, Dre, CJ, and I planned Andrew's funeral. CJ, as always, provided a calm, comforting, guiding hand to both of us during what had to be one of the most difficult times I can possibly imagine. She is the eye of the storm, that place in the middle of the chaos that stays still, grounded, and centered. Somehow, she always knows. She just shows up. You cannot write that kind of poetry. And the thing is, I know there are tons of people who have similar stories to mine. Another time I was going through an extremely difficult period about 10 years ago, and CJ stayed right next to me the entire time. Kept reminding me to remember who I am. At one point, she said, think of it this way. Right now, you are going through the refiner's fire. Instead of focusing on the very difficult part that is this right now, try to look forward to how beautiful and shiny you will be on the other side of this. And she was right. That always stays in the back of my head. Funny story. So in 2005, CJ, Carol, my mom, my sister, and I took a trip during spring break to New York City. Now, I thought I was Julie McCoy. So this was actually, it was CJ and Carol and my mom's first time to the Big Apple. So Heather and I were very excited about this. We had great plans made for every single day. We probably did 72 blocks that day, and we headed back to Times Square, which is where we were staying, and we were starving because we hadn't done a formal dinner that night. I mean, you know, we had places planned every day for dinner, but not that day. So we were starving. Everybody wanted pizza. I said, you know what? I know just right around this corner, because I'm pretty familiar with New York City, but right around this corner is a great pizza place that I love, and let's go there. So we took the right turn and we walked, and strangely enough, no pizza, and we kept walking and walking and walking, and after we made that last turn, which really we should have eliminated about 20 extra blocks that we walked by just taking a left turn. Well, we end up circling back around to where we started, took the left turn, and about 2 storefronts in, there's CJ and my sister. They look up and they point and they said, oh, pizza. So Carol and my mom were about ready to vote me off the island because I added another extra 20 blocks to our walk, but not sweet CJ. CJ hung in there with me, and she was just delighted that finally we were getting to eat pizza. There have been so many life milestones: weddings, divorces, health issues, funerals, babies, career changes, vacations, etc. All the ups and downs of life. And she has been there for every single one. You know, we each have our own story, and the people in our lives are players that have roles in our story. CJ has been such a major player in my story with such a significant role that I honestly cannot imagine my life without her in it. My entire family adores her, and we actually consider her an honorary Karsavar. Siege, you are not just precious to me, you are indelibly woven into the fabric of who I am as a human being. And I'm so grateful and honored to have you as my friend, my wise older sister, my trusted confidant. I love you doesn't seem terribly sufficient, but it's the truth. Thank you for always reminding me to be my better self. Congratulations on your retirement. Let's have dinner soon.